today we've got some breaking news we want to get to you guys. There you go. What is it all about? You've probably already seen it already. It's about the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. There's a whole lot of articles that have been posted on our Sturgis page and came out from the Buffalo Chip. They sent something out, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Is the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally going to be going on for the 85th? Because the city of Sturgis is in turmoil. So stay tuned.
Find out.
Rally's going to start real soon. It starts on August 1st and goes through the 10th. There is a pre-rally that starts over at Black Hills Harley, which is the 28th of July. That's Saturday and Sunday, and kind of runs the whole week. So vendors actually show up in town in Sturgis. Actually, already on Tuesday, Wednesday, some of the vendors usually show up. Will that happen this year? Let me tell us, we're going to go back a little bit over these last few years to kind of tell you a little bit about what's going on in the city of Sturgis, which may affect the Sturgis Rally. So we're going to step back here a little bit, and we're going to tell you a little bit about what's going on. You may have read some of this, you may not. So we're going to try to give you from what we know from dealing with the city, dealing with the Chamber of Commerce, dealing with the council, and with area locals. We're going to give you what we know and what the inside is, and at the end we're going to tell you how this is all going to affect the rally this year. We have had a whole lot of crazy stuff going on in the city of Sturgis when it comes to the mayor, to the business agent, to the city council. So we're going to run through a little bit of this, so kind of, stick with us.
Give you some background.
And kind of give you a little bit more understanding about what's going on. So the mayor that was actually just our last mayor, Mark, he was there from May 2011 to February 24th. What happened to him, we're going to get into the story. We're going to run through some of the stuff that's happened with the city mayor and council to let you just kind of give that, and then we'll give you the background on how that all happened. Mark stepped down on February 24th. They appointed Angela Wilkinson, which was one of the Ward 1 council members, in March of 24. She resigned on October 21st of 2024. Also, 2 council members had resigned. We also had an election in May of 2024, and we got 4 new council members that had came in. So there's been a lot of different things that have been going on.
A lot of changes, a lot of different personalities, a lot of stuff going on.
We had a special election here just on January 6th. And we have another new mayor. When she resigned, when she came in on 3/24, she was appointed by the city council to take this position. Funny thing is the way the voting went was a lot of the people that lost the election, that is how Angela became, the 4 votes of the people that lost in this next election were 4 of the people that voted to get her into office. So there was a lot of controversy on that already. So she stepped down because there was a lot of innuendos being said that things weren't going right. Let's leave it at that. We're not going to get into a whole lot of things. We're just going to give you kind of a roundabout of what's going on. So they had a special election. The mayor that was actually had stepped in that the council appointed, Kevin Foster, nobody ran against him. And so he is our official mayor of Sturgis. We have 2 new ward people and 1 and 2. Now all the people that are on the city council and the mayor are all new people that have came in this year and from May on of 2024. So we have a whole new group of people that are running the city of Sturgis. Now, these are all people that live in the city. You can go in and do your background. We're not going to give a bunch of names of all the council members and things like that. To step back a little bit more, we have a new city administrator, Aaron Jordan. He got appointed by the mayor because he is an employee of the city. He's not an elected official, which there was another issue we're going to talk about in a little bit. I don't really know how this is all working out, but this is where we're at today. So back in 2019, you may have already seen this, that there's been some speculation, some trouble with Sturgis over the years on who owns the name of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. And there was a big finagle all over. The Buffalo Chip was involved. The Jack Pine Gypsies was involved. A whole lot of people. There was an entity that was saying that they owned the name of the Sturgis Rally.
Motorcycle Rally.
So what ended up happening is that we ended up going to federal court back in 2019. So on February 14th of 2019, the U.S. District Court of South Dakota declared that nobody owns these two names, that it is owned by the people that come and work the rallies.
The attendees.
And the two names that are up for grabs that anybody can use is the Sturgis Rally and Races and also the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. Those names are, so nobody really owns, when they say, well, the city owns the city of Sturgis owns the rally. They don't. They're just another person that's involved with what's going on in the rally. To step back a little bit more, in 2020, the city of Sturgis was going to cancel the motorcycle rally. That was the first year we started our YouTube channel. And at that time, we were booked at the Buffalo Chip. We had contacted the Buffalo Chip because the city was talking about canceling, and the Buffalo Chip said, we're going to be open. We got a hold of Pappy Hoyle and the Full Throttle Saloon. They said, we're going to be open. We called a lot of other people, and they said, we're all going to be open. What ended up happening...
But South Dakota was open during the COVID years, and they said the state is open, so...
What was the final decision? How do they remember? You're the one that told me about that. That the county said something.
Well, what they did is the city was debating whether to have it or not, and so the county came in and said, look, we're just going to tell you if you don't issue permits for the motorcycle rally to vendors, us as the county is going to do that, and you're going to lose all that revenue. And the city said, let's have the rally.
And the other thing was that the city looked at it is we're still going to have trash pickup, we're still going to have to hire the police, we're going to have to do a lot of things.
Because people are still going to come. They didn't care. I mean, if South Dakota was open, people were going to come.
And the governor, what she did was she made it to where each county and each city could decide what they wanted to do with the mandates for masks and shots and all that kind of stuff. And so pretty much it was kind of like, if you wanted to wear a mask was great. If the business wanted to require it, that was fine. But the county was saying, everything else was open and nothing was really closed because of that in 2020. So that just kind of gives you a little bit about 2020, what we had found out about that. So what ended up happening, I guess I turned the page. So in 2011, the city hired a business agent, which is who we've dealt with in the past, which was Dan Ainsley. He is the second manager. In 2007, the council approved that they should get a city manager. Why do they have a city manager?
It's because the mayor's job is only a part-time role.
Which I don't really understand that, but I'm not involved with the city. So they hired a gentleman named David Boone back in 2007, and he went to April 2011. What happened to him is he got convicted of grand theft. What he did is, the way from what I can look up, is it looked like it was insurance fraud that he ran on a vehicle that he owned. So there was a lot of talk that he stole money from the city too. I don't see any evidence of that, but I don't know. We're going to talk about money in a little bit about what happened.
He's never been prosecuted for that.
Yes. So Dan Ainsley stepped down. So we're going to back up a little bit more and tell you a little bit more about what happened. So in 2020... the city wanted to annex the Jack Pine Gypsies motorcycle track out there. Because what the city has done now is they have taken, if you've been watching our channel, you understand that the city now has absorbed some of the highway. They've gone around on the other side of the highway of the 90 there, and it's now in the city limits. So that's why when they talk about traffic count, they're actually counting cars driving down the 90, because that's driving through the city of Sturgis. Not saying they're stopping or they're not stopping, but that's one of the stories that we tell you.
They're going through the city of Sturgis.
That's right. So Jack Pines was actually in that area. Well, the idea, this is what we were told, which we don't know if this is the whole story of what was really happening, was Jack Pine Gypsies is a nonprofit organization, and they've been running this. If it wasn't for the Jack Pine Gypsies, there would not be a Sturgis Motorcycle Rally.
No.
That's what Pappy Hoyle was involved with back when when it all started up. It was Jack Pine Gypsies and Pappy Hoyle is what started the Motorcycle Rally. So they're kind of the founders of it, and they have the motorcycle racing out there. They're going to be having some flat track racings this year, and we're going to be having somebody come on from the flat track in the next couple of weeks, and going to tell you all about the races that are going to be going on out there. And so there's a lot of excitement going on. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to annex it in. Well, they didn't want to be annexed in because they basically said if we get annexed in and we have to start paying taxes and all these fees, we're going to go out of business. Yep. Well, I believe from the Dan Ainsworth that was in there, we think that that's what the whole plan really was, that the city wanted that property to develop it, put apartments on it. They've also tried to buy other property in town, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But ended up happening is they annexed it in. Well, the Jack Pine Gypsies and a couple other businesses got together and they got a referendum on the ballot to vote on it. But the funny thing was that the election was actually right during the Sturgis Rally in 2020, which I think it was put on intentionally by the city, thinking that a lot of the local people don't come out. Well, the bad news is it was overly
unanimously
that they voted not to annex the Jack Pine Gypsies. So today it's still not annexed in by the city. Okay, so that's part of the issue that we have, that when you start looking at what's going on. So during that's kind of what started a lot of the stuff like that. So in 2021, they held a referendum, and so in 2021, that referendum came in, and all that different stuff was happening in 2020, and they put a referendum out that they wanted to remove the city manager, and they wanted to bring it back to that the mayor would be a full-time, he would be in charge of the city. The council rejected that. The citizens took it, once again, to the Supreme Court in South Dakota, and right before it came down in February, Dan Ainsworth resigned. He put his resignation in, and he left, and he went to go work over in Rapid City. So after all, he was there for a full 11 years. So in March of 2022, here's some of the problems that came in with the city. The city decided they wanted to buy 77 acres of ground out by the 90 out there and make a water park. The whole idea of this is they were trying to show, the problem with this rally is there is some people in Sturgis that hate the motorcycle rally every year. There's other people that live in Sturgis that love the motorcycle rally. But it seems to be that the ones that really hate it the most are the ones that are got the squeaky wheel.
The loudest voices.
They're always in the city hall, and they're barking and they're barking and they're barking and they're barking. So that's the issue that they had. So they decided what they wanted to do is for the city and for the kids in the city and all this, we were going to build a water park. You know, right down the road at Spearfish, they've got a water park. Big one. Pool and everything else. So if you look at the city of Sturgis, they got about a little less than 7,000 people living in the city. You got to figure about half of those residents aren't there year-round. We're actually citizens of Sturgis, South Dakota. So we're not there full-time. So there's a lot of people that own property. Some of our subscribers own property there. They are not residents there, but they're still counted as a population there because they own property. They don't knock on your door and ask you how many people live in the house anymore. So that's part of the problem. I don't think there was enough kids to justify this, but let's just talk about the price of this. So the city actually paid cash for $1.4 million out of the fund of the city to buy this property. Well, as it kept going on, it was looking like it could end up costing more than $10 million to make this water park. Now, there's some other issues going on. Businesses, city people, they donated $147,883 that's in a fund right now that the city can't use. The city also went out and spent, before that, $200,000 for designs to build this water park. That gets to be some of the problem that the city has. What else we found out just last year, which was very shocking to me, how many of you have gone into the Sturgis liquor store? City owns that. And from what I see is they're the only ones that can legally sell hard liquor in the city limits. Now you can go in and buy a shot or a glass.
Those little bitty ones, I think, at some of the convenience stores.
But you can't buy full bottles. You have to go to the liquor store. So that's what I said to the city. This is with the old mayor. They're in competition with your own people. The businesses there. You wonder why businesses don't come in. It's because, and they're trying to say that the reason they have this is it helps pay for the senior center, and there's a lot of things that it pays for that they wouldn't have today if they didn't have the liquor store. I don't know. I just think that's the city's going against what's going on. We had also heard a couple years ago during this time when Dan Ainsley was the business manager, they tried to buy, if any of you get to the rally before it starts, the week before, right before you get to Glencoe, and before you get to the gas station where the Beaver Bar was at, there's a little side road right there before the high school, and that runs back into a park back there.
I think they call it I don't know if it's Meade County Fairgrounds or if it's the Sturgis Fairgrounds. I don't know, but they call it a fairground.
And the city was trying to buy that too. They wanted to make condos in there. Another way the city is in business to now with this property, that the new mayor and the new city council and all that, they believe because the city is looking to, not the city, the county and the state is looking to build that road, the 79 that runs along the Buffalo Chip. They're going to put that Fort Meade Way is going to eventually, in the near 100 years, they're going to turn it into the 79. So they've already kind of did some widening of the highway and stuff there. So there's going to be some other widening done. And the county and the state may want to buy half of that property. So the city could get some of that money back. That's where we're in the mess that we're in. In 2023, the city was down $136,000 short of their budget money that they spent. So they were in a hole. Typically, they've had money left over. They've had $3 or $4 million in the bank all the time. Well, spending this money for the park and spending all that money, they lost all that. The ambulance service, I guess the ambulance, the budget for 2023, they had kind of figured that there was going to be, I guess they calculate that insurance companies will pay so much, or they bill you if the ambulance comes out, that they were going to make so much money. Well, they were down about $69,000 on that off of what they did, what they spent. They spent 110. They estimated 110 they were going to collect, and they were shortfall 69,000. Sales tax, they were down $28,000 plus, so they were down to a deficit there. So there was already a problem there. That's a lot of times what you're seeing with this 2024, people leaving, people stepping down. Their lawyer was dismissed, which you can tell a little bit about the lawyer. Our experience. We've been to some council meetings during the rallies and stuff. You can also watch them on YouTube, Facebook. Online. So you can watch them online too. They're all public, so you can see what's going on. Sometimes they shut them down to where you can't make any comments during that time. But we have sat through some of them. We weren't overly impressed with the attorney that they had. Not going to say his name or anything like that, but we just seemed like when we were there, like I say, it was towards the end of his term. Angela was in office at that time. Mark was the mayor that actually appointed him. The problem with a lot of this stuff with the city is their employees, like the lawyer and the business manager, business administrator, they only can be terminated by the mayor. So that has come into some problem.
Went down too.
Yeah, financial person that was in charge, they left too. So there's been pretty much a lot of new people have turned over in this last year. And before that, they had a gentleman that had been running the rally for a long time. His name?
Jerry Coleman.
And he was great. But he left about 2 years ago, maybe getting close to 3 years ago. I didn't look him up to see exactly when he retired, but he retired. And he kind of ran the rally now. So we've been to those council meetings. The city uses, some of the things we want to talk about is the city uses the workers. So the people that clean the streets and work the water and do the Johnny on the spots and all that stuff are the same employees that work there year round.
I think there's 8 of them.
And so the main people that they bring in to run this rally is the extra police force that needs to come in and help monitor Main Street and the surrounding areas. Now, when you get out, the county has their own police, the state police, those aren't being paid by the city, though. Now, some of the things that we've seen on the council meetings that I've got a real problem with is the city usually has about 3 or 4 rides during the year. One is the Chiefs ride, one is a pub crawl that the mayor does. They do a mayor's ride, and last year they did Pappy Hoyle's wife. Pearl ride they had. Well, the city's canceled all those this year for the budget, and they tried to say that it cost $600,000
to put those rides on.
And I don't know what the hell they're doing. So we've contacted the Flat Track, American Flat Track, and said we would be interested in doing a ride with the city. If they wanted to sponsor us to where, you get a free shirt, it's going to cost you to get in it, and that money's all donated to a charity and stuff. But I don't really understand how the pub crawl, I don't think, was free drinks.
No.
And we rode on the police ride, and we did get a shirt. But I would,
And a small lunch when we got back. It was
Yeah.
just like cold cut sandwiches and nothing fancy.
but I don't know where $600,000. I wouldn't even have said $10,000 that would for all this expense. But I would have gotten whoever made the shirts. I would have them sponsor it.
Donate the shirts.
Yeah, and so the money you're collecting is just up and above. And the chief did it on his day off, so he didn't get paid. So I don't understand where that kind of money's coming from. So what we're getting down to is what's going to happen in the 85th Motorcycle Rally. Not a whole lot of difference that you may see. There may be some things that the city has cut back on their budget. They still have the same employees. Nobody other than the people we've said that have left.
On their own, free will.
Nobody's been fired. I don't know, any improvements, any things they were planning to do this year, anything like that, is the new budget's been out for 2025, and they've approved it by the board, and they did some cuts and things like that. So it's mainly keeping everything the way it is. I look at this, and I think a lot of the problem is the sponsorships that they have coming into the rally. I've seen some of the prices that some of them have paid, and to me, it's not.
For the biggest motorcycle rally in the United States, it's pennies on the dollar compared to what we hear some of the other rallies get.
So that's some of the problem that I've seen with what's going on. There's one person, we're not going to throw his name out, he still works for the city. He's an employee too, he's not an elected job, and he's in charge of sponsorships. One of the things we heard is sometimes some of the sponsorship money doesn't come in till like a day before the rally starts. So it doesn't give you, you should have all your sponsorships done before March. And really around the first of the year here, January, should all be in. It should have been in before because they really didn't approve this budget till the whole council got in here after January 6th. So a lot of the sponsorship money should have already known what they're getting for money. They already should know the vendors that are coming in. They're predicting the 85th is going to be, the newspaper articles and stuff are going to say it's going to be the biggest rally ever. I don't think we're going to see numbers like the 75th. I think we'll have a good rally, but we're all waiting on the Buffalo Chip. We've heard that the Buffalo Chip has all their concerts booked now. From an outside source. We didn't hear that from the Chip, but we heard it from the outside source. But we haven't heard any big bands yet coming in. So that's one of the things that makes a big difference to people that are looking to come to the Sturgis Rally. My recommendation, we need to get a hold of Buffalo Chip. We haven't been talking to them as much as we have in the past.
We've been having a lot of things going on. Not that we're trying to distance ourselves from them, but with the 501c and different things going on, just haven't had a chance to reach out to them.
And so we need to get with them. We need to touch base with them because what's ended up happening is Rod is kind of stepping back. He's still the owner, but his son, Damon, is now the new president of the Buffalo Chip. And I believe he's running a lot of the concerts, and he's pretty much running the venue, and Rod's kind of stepping back, and he's still there every day, and he's still doing a lot of things there. He's still involved with what's going on because he owns the business. It's his shop, it's his thing. He's done it all this time. But Damon's kind of been stepping up the last few years and taking over more and more. So we don't really have that great of a relationship with Damon that we always had with Rod. Not saying we don't have a relationship with Damon. He's always been very good to us, but we just don't get the response as quickly as we always got from Rod. And that's just different person dealing with,
That's
how
right.
that all works out.
Everybody's unique.
So everything, at the Chip's still going to be the same, at the Full Throttle Saloon, all the other venues are still going to do what they do. The city's still going to have what they're going on. There's not going to be, I wasn't planning on doing any of this video. My idea was the dirt that goes on in the city doesn't need, you come in for a few days, you come in for a week or two during a rally, you don't really need to know what the hell's going on in Sturgis. It really doesn't concern any of us. A little bit to us, because we do pay taxes and stuff for Sturgis, but because that's our residencies there. But other than that, that's about all but the reason I came out with this is mainly because there's more and more of these articles coming out. The Washington Post came out, Wall Street Journal came out and did this article, and they talked to a lot of people in Sturgis, and a lot of the stuff is people's going to tell you their opinion. Once again, it's a little town with a lot of money, dealing with lots of cash coming in during this rally. This is their big event. They spend a lot of money. If you get there before the rally, like we are, we're there 7 weeks before the rally starts, and on Wednesday nights, the city sponsors a party downtown.
Yep.
They have jump houses, they have a bicycle ride that goes out of town, there's a bunch of food vendors, bands. The city pays for all that.
It's a good time.
You got to pay for your food. But everything else is there. It's free for the kids to do. The bike ride is a group that there's hundreds of people. If you watch their video, you've seen that last year. We were there when they took off and came back. But the city does a lot of other events. But the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally is the granddaddy of rallies. They get a lot of their money from this for their budget for the year. The money we spend helps that city grow. If the Sturgis Rally would disappear someday and didn't have it anymore, it would be a real deficit, not just to the city of Sturgis, but to the whole state of South Dakota, because there's so much money that we all bring in because it is the largest motorcycle rally in the world. No matter what anybody else says, because you can't just count what's down on Main Street. And that's like I say, when they try to tell you the numbers that are coming in, that you have no idea what the numbers are, because there's people that go to Custer and never come into Sturgis. There's people that are staying out in the Badlands and they never come into Sturgis, but they're there on their motorcycles and they're doing the motorcycle riding and things like that. So when you come down to numbers, yeah, there could be 400,000 or 500,000 people that come to a motorcycle rally in Sturgis, but not come into Sturgis. But there's no humanly possible way that we can ever calculate the people that are coming to town, because once again, Sturgis is a lot like Daytona and Myrtle Beach. It's a big tourist area. Not so much Sturgis, but the Black Hills. You got Mount Rushmore, you got the Badlands, you got Deadwood, you got all this. Deadwood's probably packed right down there now this weekend, coming up, because people want to come there to gamble, even though there's some snow on the ground.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I didn't realize it, but that area is really big for ski resorts and different things like that,
they got
snowmobiling,
yeah.
and it's that area, more so toward Spearfish and Deadwood, is more like a winter area too, that a lot of people come out all year round and visit that area.
So we get a lot of input, not so much from the city council yet, because none of them, I don't know how many actually know who we are. But from the old city council, that we had a few people there that were our contact people. We have a lot of people in the city of Sturgis that actually are sending me texts all the time and sending me links to make sure, hey, check this out, see what this is at. So we know a lot more than we're actually telling you. But we're trying to give you the facts of what has happened, what's going on with the city. They have a whole new team. They seem to be, that the majority of the people seem to be pretty happy. But if you go back and look at the ballots, 300 or 400 people is all that votes in the city, out of, even if there's 2,500 people there. That's kind of sad that 300 or 400 people all that come out and vote. So when you look at the ballots, some of these people only won by a handful of votes. So there still could be some diversity inside the town about how they don't like the way the city's being run. They don't like the Sturgis Rally. They don't like, they just, maybe they're Karens. I don't know.
So will there be a Sturgis 2025 motorcycle rally this year, the 85th?
It will go on just like any other one will.
And what you should do is come and support the city, even though it's in turmoil, or hopefully everything's being turned around and we're going to get right back on the right page. We should come and support the city and come visit, come out, have a good time, not worry about the politics, not worry about what's going on, and just support the 85th motorcycle rally, because everything else is going to be open. The Buffalo Chip's going to be there, Black Hills Harley's going to be there, the Indian dealership's still going to be up and running, Peppy Hoyle, everything is still going to go on.
So typically, just like us, there's times that we in the city, we don't ever see a city official. And sometimes we do bump into some of them and different things like that. And they're out and about, and they bounce around the town when events and stuff are going on. We know the chief real well. Didn't call him on any of this to find out what his thoughts were on all this. But it's just a little town with a lot of money. And this isn't uncommon to happen. And there's a lot of this happens all over the United States. And we see a lot of it in some of the rallies that we go to, some of the issues that have come up with different people trying to make decisions. So hopefully we got a good council that's in there now that's going to support the rally. We've offered our volunteer through them that we'd be happy to give them any advice or any opinions on what we think about things. I don't know what they're going to do for opening ceremonies and things like that. There might be a lot more downside this year. A lot of things that they had, the flaunt girls there last year. The people that I seen that were actually there when we showed up looked more like local people and a handful of tourists, or maybe a few bikers. But other than that, to me, it was a waste of money of having it. The city should have a parade downtown, close the street down for maybe an hour, have a parade, all the officials that have motorcycles, the chief, the fire chief, people like that, have them all go down. Anybody's got a motorcycle, we could all, be a patriotic thing, end up there at Harley Square, make some good announcements. They could have a house band playing like they always do, and that'd be good enough. You don't really need, and they have the military flyover. The flyover doesn't cost them anything to do that. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't know where they're getting their expenses from. I didn't sit down and look at the budget and print it all out. All this stuff is public. Every city's got stuff that you can print out and get involved with and all that kind of stuff. We've been dealing a lot with the flat track. They're involved with doing a lot of new stuff. There might be a new speedway coming in that they might bring in the city. I don't believe it's a track that was in front of Glencoe. I think there's another track someplace in town that they had 10 or 15 years ago as a flat track straightaway that they haven't used. And I'm not sure where that's at. So we're actually going to get somebody on from American Flat Track in the next couple of Sundays, and he's going to give you a rundown, because actually in Daytona, there's flat track racing in Daytona. There's flat track racing at Lake of the Ozarks. There's flat track racing. There's going to be maybe 3 to 4 races in Sturgis this year. So a lot
During the rally, throughout the rally.
And people always want to know, why are these rallies changing? Here you go. You're getting back to what rallies started about. It was about motorcycle racing, Jack Pine Gypsies. It wasn't about anything else. It was about motorcycle racing that brought this together. You need to support that. That's the one thing that I need to tell everybody right now, because if you don't support this, it's not going to last. And we got vendors and you got beer to buy. Other than that, there's not a whole lot, and so a few concerts going on. There's not a whole lot else going on at a motorcycle rally. So by bringing in this flat track racing and the motorcycle racing they do over at the Jack Pine Gypsies track, that's what started all this. Yeah. Need to take time while you're there and at least spend a little bit of time, spend a little money there, getting in. It's not that expensive, usually $20 or $30 to get in for the day, and you can see the races and all that stuff and support them. Because that's what that makes this all happen, and it's what's going to keep the rally going in the future. So at that, we're still heading to Sturgis. We'll be there for 8 weeks. We don't know what we're going to do for the first month for a motorcycle. We're going to be talking about that real soon.
We might be walking, no.
We don't know yet. We've got to make some phone calls because we won't get into it. Because that'll make this video that much longer. So at that, we tell you, go ahead and plan on going to Sturgis. You're probably not going to see anything that's going on. Don't worry about all the different things that have happened to the Sturgis Rally.
Or all the articles coming out. Don't be concerned or worried. Everything's going to go on without a hitch. You probably won't notice anything any differently. So just show up, have a good time, ride your bikes, and we'll see you there.
That is going to leave our newscast special report from the Bob and Tam Show today.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Hope you got a lot of good information. We'll see you at some of the rallies coming up. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications, and we'll see you on the next video.
There you go.